This is the new Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace, the brand's 7-seat SUV that allows you to choose between more passengers or more cargo space. But you probably don't need me to tell you that. In fact, Volkswagen reckons 41% of the Tiguans sold in Australia have that third row of seats fitted, so you're probably pretty familiar with the model. Now, what you might need me to tell you, however, is what's new, how it drives, and what it costs. So let's get cracking, shall we?
The Tiguan Allspace arrives with 3 variants: Life, Elegance and R-Line. Kicking off proceedings is the Life model, which gives you LED headlights, 18-inch alloy wheels, roof rails and auto lights and wipers outside. While in the cabin, you'll find an 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a digital driver's binnacle, wireless phone charging, 3-zone climate control and cloth seats. You also get the IQ Drive safety system, but we'll come back to that under the safety section. Stepping up to the Elegance adds IQ Light Matrix LED headlights, 19-inch alloy wheels, tinted rear windows and adaptive chassis control. While in the cabin, you get a bigger 9.2-inch touchscreen, ambient interior lighting, electric front seats which are now heated and ventilated, and leather trim. Finally, the R-Line delivers 20-inch alloys and a sportier exterior treatment, an R-Line touch-sensitive steering wheel and a sportier cabin feel.
Now, the name of the game here is all about lights, with the base model Life swapping halogens for LEDs, and the Allspace more generally adopting a cool new IQ light signature, including this light bar that runs from headlight to headlight right across the center of the grille that looks super cool at night. Now, there are also new bumpers, new alloy wheel designs, and at the back in the top spec models, a clever new LED light setup too.
The cabin of the Allspace is a calm-looking and all-around calming space with a central touchscreen handling tech duties and digital driver's binnacle that serves up your trip info. The best ambience, though, is reserved for the R-Line models, which get a tricky steering wheel with haptic feedback buttons, along with sportier pedals and some extra interior niceties. And they all add up to a far more premium-feeling space than in the entry-level model. No matter your model though, you'll find some harsh plastics at work, but the Allspace's cabin remains a quality feeling space to spend time.
So, fun fact about the Tiguan Allspace. The brand reckons plenty of the people who buy this don't actually use that third row of seats. They just want an SUV with a bit of extra space, and space is something you get plenty of here. Now, with the third row in place, you get a bite-sized 230 litres of luggage room. But should you drop those seats, the number grows to 700 litres, and should you drop the second row as well, that number swells to 1775 litres. And really, that is plenty. And because you can lower or raise the seats individually, you get to choose how you prioritise luggage or passengers. But if you do have to put people in the third row, you're going to find the space more adequate than outstanding. Honestly, it just feels a little tight and claustrophobic back here, certainly for my 175 centimetres. You're really better off using it for really little kids or just in case of emergency. Happily though, the second row does tell a different story. It's far more comfortable, and in this R-Line trim, it gets air vents, temperature controls, USB charging ports, everything you need to make a longer journey a bit more comfortable.
4 options for you here, but which you get depends on what model you go for. The Life is offered with 2 petrol choices, the 110 TSI, which pairs a 1.4-litre 4-cylinder engine producing 110 kilowatts and 250 newton metres with a 6-speed DSG and which drives the front wheels. Or there's the 132 TSI, which gets a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine good for 132 kilowatts and 320 newton metres and a 7-speed DSG with 4-motion all-wheel drive. Elegance or R-Line models get the choice of a 162 TSI, which pairs a 2-litre petrol engine producing 162 kilowatts and 350 newton metres with a 7-speed DSG and 4-motion all-wheel drive. Or there's the 147 TDI, which is a 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel producing 147 kilowatts and 400 newton metres, and it also gets a 7-speed DSG and all-wheel drive.
Okay, so full disclosure, straight out the gates, I've always been a pretty big fan of the way the Tiguan drives. And if you are too, then you'll probably like this one as well. It feels refreshingly familiar. There is an immediate sort of sense of quality, of heftiness to the way that it goes about its business, to the steering, to the way the ride feels connected to the road below, to the point where It could almost be considered uncomfortable on certain road surfaces, but you've probably heard me say before, to me that's a fair trade-off for feeling connected to what's going on below the tyres. I'd much rather that than a feeling of complete disconnect. But the one thing I will point out about the way this car drives is that it doesn't move like a big 7-seat vehicle. It seems to shrink around you from behind the wheel. It doesn't feel like you're driving anything too big, doesn't feel like you're trying to park anything too big either, and it really is just a nice, cruisy, easy drive from behind the wheel. Now, one of the cool things about this new model is it has consolidated all of its driving assistance tech to this one single button. You hit that and it will automatically activate your lane keeping assist, your lane centering, your active cruise control, and deliver something approaching a kind of level 2 autonomy on freeways, i.e. you can remove your hands from the wheel and it will begin to steer around corners for you. Now, like most of these systems though, there's a fairly strict time limit, and if you leave your hands off for too long, it will start beeping and squawking at you and telling you to put them back on. But it does make activating all those systems just a little bit easier. For me, the magic of a family SUV though is one that doesn't feel like a family SUV all the time. When the kids and the brood aren't along with you, you don't really want to feel like you're on a National Lampoon's road trip. You want to be driving something that you can get a little bit of fun out of too, and that certainly is the Tiguan. It feels really nicely connected to the road. They've ironed out almost all of the body roll. It grips pretty nicely, it goes around corners well. It is the kind of car that you can have a little bit of fun with, within limits, of course. Now, we've cycled through most of the engine variants today, and to be honest, none of them really feel underpowered. Even that entry-level Life has enough grunt to keep you moving in cities or around town without too much concern, or even on the freeway. But they all do share that one kind of quirky characteristic, which is when you plant your foot, there's a moment of nothingness before the power finally starts to arrive. And when you're up and moving, you barely notice it, but it is something you notice when you're taking off in a hurry from a standstill, or when you really plant your foot when you're moving and it needs to drop down a cog or two. So I guess in summary, you're driving a family vehicle that doesn't feel like a family vehicle all the time, and with 2 extra seats in the back should you need them, but it doesn't feel like you're driving a 7-seater either. In that sense, I guess it really is a bit of a best of both worlds kind of offering here.
The 110 TSI engine will require a claimed 7.7 litres per 100 kilometres, and its 58 litre fuel tank requires 95 RON fuel. The 132 TSI will need 8.9 litres per 100 kilometres, while the 162 TSI requires 8.6 litres per 100 kilometres. Both have a 60 litre tank and need 95 RON fuel. Finally, the 147 TDI sips 6.2 litres per 100 kilometres and has a 60 litre tank that you will be filling with diesel. The big safety news here is the introduction of the IQ Drive Travel Assistant, a steering wheel shortcut that engages the Allspace's active safety gear. So that means things like front assist, adaptive cruise, travel assist, lane assist and emergency assist, essentially allowing for hands-off driving on freeways. You also get a reversing camera, parking sensors and manoeuvre braking, as well as a fatigue detection system. The Tiguan Allspace is covered by VW's 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and servicing is required every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. VW does sell care plans, which allow you to bundle maintenance costs at the time of purchase. 3 years will cost you either $1,400 or $1,650, while 5 years is between $2,600 and $2,950.
So, 5 people in comfort, 7 people at a pinch, and enough cargo room to shift elephants. The Tiguan Allspace really is all about that space. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a video, and maybe throw us a like or jump into the comments below. I promise you we do read them. And for my full review on this car and on thousands of others, head on over to carsguide.com.au.